Right, so I've penned, as you can see, a sort of like a Mediterranean-y picture. So based on my painting I showed earlier, which I've done last year, so now I'm going to try and do one this year. So what I need to do is decide on what sort of colour to do as my undercoat on here. So I'm thinking if I have like a very, very wet, sort of a little bit of, as you can see, it's sort of like I'm going to do sort of a bit of a slight dirty grey colour, because of I only want this to be my undercoat. So because the sky, it will be probably quite nice to be a little bit on here. Just so as you can see, all I'm doing is just doing a little bit of background, just very, very wet, because I don't want to try and do this bit afterwards, because I can always ruin my painting if I, you know. So I'm not worrying with putting clouds and things like that in today, because of this is just not that type of painting. This is more on the foreground than it is on the background on there. So right, so I've got like a bit of a grey background to the actual sky. Now, of course, buildings are very, very whitey sort of colour, so I don't really want to put too much dark. So what I am going to do with a very wishy-washy sort of beigey brown, I'm going to just put my paint through where the little steps are. I'm not doing it neat because of I need to put lots of other colours in here, but I'm putting my paintbrush just across, just in the little lines, just so that I know that's going to be the base of my actual steps. And there we go, just to bring my stairway and to be slightly different. But of course I have actually got a terracotta pot. I'm going to have a couple of terracotta pots. So if I actually put at the moment just like a little bit of colour on my terracotta pot and on here as well, so then I've got where I know that's going to be. I like to put a little bit darker, to do a few little bits on the top part of my brick wall. Doesn't have to be neat, because there will be lots of, on the wall there will be lots of stone on that, but of course the background bit will be on there. So a little bit of messy bit again. I'm just going to fill in this bit here, just so I know I can then carry on afterwards. Okay, so just to show, I think you can see a very, very slight colouring effects there. So you see it was slightly grey in the actual sky, and now a little bit of building, what I class as the building bits, so the building blocks of the actual painting. So I don't want to go too mad on too much, but I have got a tree there. But what colour would you say trees are? Of course, green. But I'm going to put my tree with a little bit of green, but I want more purple in it, because this picture is, on my other picture I had it all as a really, really pretty with bougainvillea. So do I do that again, or do I just do a mixture? I'm going to just put some mixture of, oh yeah, I like in that colour, it's a bit of a plum colour, but just some parts on the, you probably can't see that on there, but I'm just doing a little tiny bit of plum, as you can see, on there. And at the moment, you see, I'm just using all the wishy-washy bits up from my palettes from previously, which is good because it helps me clean up my palettes, and it just gives me my base coats. When I was on the cruise on Cunard, and the lady on there, the Cynthia, the art teacher, this is what she said: all you do is use up your old paint colours and that, and I couldn't believe how much easier it is now, because I've got that sort of plummy colour on here. I'm loving that colour, so I'm actually going to put a little bit of my building in that colour, because it looks a little bit to me like a shadowy colour, and that front part of this building I like to do that colour on, and I'll put a little bit underneath the fence, the roof tops on there, and a little bit underneath some windows here, and you can see that's all coming alive on here. And well, I'll put it on this little door, but there's going to be lots of plants and everything on that doorway. And yeah, quite like a bit of that for some of these little steps. It's just a nice little colour, and when you get a bit of a colour what you like, you use it to build up your picture. Right, let's see how this is going. Of course, I don't want that to be too much on there, and again I'm building. Right, I'm liking that. Because the windows will be like a shady colour, there's no reason why I can't just do like a little bit of a shadow in the window using that. And I do half shadow in there. You can see I'm using my favourite brush. I'm using the Winsor & Newton paints, but also I'm using my circular ones from Amazon, because as I said before, you don't always have to use your posh bits and pieces, and we can always finish off with black pen. Remember, as I've shown you before, it's not always, you know, the same colours. You can just intermingle them yourself on there, and just to make it your shapes. Right, I'm happy with that on there. Now, right, let's just show you how that's coming along. Right, see, it's slightly building. Hopefully you can see there's some depth coming into the picture. Now I'm going to put a bit of what I would class as sort of like a terracotta-y colour. So you can use, see, that's a little bit too orangey, isn't it, that one there? Too yellow. So if I just add like a little tiny bits of other colours to it till I get the colour I want, I can use as much on here as I want. But of course I'm going to do it very, very wet. So now that is a very, very good colour brown. But at the moment I'm still using my biggish brush, but eventually I'll move down into the smaller one. So now I'm going to be doing a little bit more of my stones. I'm literally doing like a big, what I class as a stone, like an unusual flinty stone on my walkway there. Yeah, on there. And then I can actually put a bit more, again, to make it a little bit of depth. I don't want it too dark on there, but this is nearer the front, you see. So, and I think there's going to be shadows, so if I pull a bit of this out as shadow on the bottom, oh yeah, that makes a good shadow for on there, because that is the browny colour. Yeah, lovely. And because you're getting near to the front here, you could of course do lots of more little bits of brown on there, because there's going to be lots of cracks, because of when you get these type of streets, they're not neat, are they? There's all like the little steps, and like just doing my own version of this, just using up some of this lovely darker colour, and because it's all going to be like a bit patchy, because of it would be going in there in the distance, you would just about make out the, you know, that you're getting smaller for there. And now I've gone for the yellowy colour, slightly more terracotta-y. So again, I like terracotta pots, but you need a little bit of white and you need a little bit of colour on them just to make them look more like a terracotta pot. And we don't need to do too much, because we will do edging on there later. And again, bring out some more of this yellowy colour on the sides of our pots, and possibly on the middle of the pot. Yeah, so again, this yellow. So we'll make a little bit on the other colourway of these sort of steps here, because it's slightly different, these steps. You can see that there, because it's going up into another little brick wall. So again, you can't really see properly, but I will just do some little unusual little bits across the top, because that is what you would have on a little brick wall part. And then if that's the underneath part of the wall, I need to break that up with some other colours, but at the moment that will do nicely there. So hopefully you've all got your paper with you, and you can all have a little go at this. And so now I'm going to lighten this up again, a little bit more water, and now I'm going to just do some big blobby bits along here, because I don't want it to be the same sort of colour, but this will be like quite a lot of broken tile effect here. But I just noticed I could actually put like a little tiny little bits here, what could be little steps coming out. And again, like I said, you don't want to go too mad, because it's all, well, it's however you want it to be. So this is like, I call this, as you know, a salified picture. And I know a few people have messaged me to see how I am with my operation. So unfortunately, they're not going to operate on me till the 5th of May. So I've just got to grin and bear it, is what I'm going to say, till then. But, you know, today's a good day because I'm managing to come and sit out here. But of course, I know lots of days I can't sit down for long. So I'm trying my hardest today to complete a painting. After the last one I did, I was ill for about a week, but I did have another UTI from having the uteric stent put in. So everybody knows now, don't they, that if you go and have an operation, read the booklet first, just so you know that sometimes things go wrong. And you know, sometimes you get the infections and you get they can't actually do the operation. But one good thing, when I had my phone call yesterday, they told me I'm actually having Professor Anthony Young do my operation on the 5th. You don't normally get told, do you, on who's going to do it? But is this because it went wrong last time? So they've given me more, well, I should say, he must be a very good surgeon to be an OBE. And, you know, so I'm hoping that he is as good as his reputation, is what we can say, can't we? So are you enjoying this little bit of painting this morning? I mean, I do find it very, very therapeutic. And as we can call today is painting to heal, because at the moment I need a lot of healing. So, so I know I don't look great, but you know, I've just got to put up with what I've got, haven't I? It's just, you know, sometimes you just have to make the best of a bad lot, really, isn't it, you can say. But you know, that is what it is. Okay, so I'm going to now put a little bit more colour in my tree, just because I've got a little bit more highlighted on there. So I think you can see my sort of strokes I'm doing at the moment. They're just like, you know, not even neat strokes. They're just like blobby ones. And you'll like how it's coming, because I'm going to lift it up in a sec just to show you what we've got so far. And then you have to see what you think on there, because I think in a minute I will have to start putting some neater bits in, because of this might not be, you know, I don't want to over put the back on, because of it will need some nice bits on it just to make it appeal to, and it is, like I said, my version again. Okay, so hopefully you can see I've got that's all coming alive. Now I've just got to do some more bits on the building. You can see the steps coming too, and you can see like the tree, which I've done all the lilac colours, which I'm quite happy with. So I'm going to stop for a moment and get myself a drink, because as you know, after having a urethra stent in, I have to get up and move after every hour. I have to make sure I drink, and I have to make sure I'm, you know, take it easy. So I'll be back in a minute, and I'll get a clean lot of water too. See you shortly. Okay, that is stage 2. Stage 2. Hope you're liking it.